One person is dead and another has been critically injured by gunfire at the CHOP, the Capitol Hill organized protest. King 5's Tony Black tells us about the violence which unfolded early this morning.
Seattle police are investigating a fatal shooting within the Cap Hill occupied protest zone that happened Saturday. Video from inside the CHOP zone shows a busy scene at 2:30 in the morning. A 19-year-old was killed, and another man was also reportedly shot and taken to the hospital.
There's a lot of people out here.
Alex Bennett, a former nurse, says she was walking her dog nearby when she saw one of the victims.
And I saw one gunshot wound on his arm, so I took off my sweatshirt and tied it around his arm above where the gunshot wound was so I could make a tourniquet to try to keep the bleeding down.
Bennett says she heard somebody say they called 911, but were told paramedics won't come because police were being blocked from entering.
Please allow us to get fire into the area to provide the aid.
Bennett says she supports the protest, but believes time was lost.
If an ambulance could have come, he would have been there a lot sooner, and he, I think, would probably have been in a lot better shape.
Get your vehicle and go.
The Seattle Fire Department offered a timeline of events, saying after the first 911 call at 2:19 a.m., they and the Seattle Police Department attempted to enter the area at 2:26 a.m., but were met by protesters, who Seattle police in their release said were violent. Seattle police also said they were told CHOP medics transported the first victim to the hospital, where he had died. Nearly 40 minutes later, multiple 911 calls came in to report another victim. Officers were already on scene, but that victim too was taken to the hospital by someone else.
Move out of the way.
Seattle police say detectives are still doing an investigation despite the challenges, and at this time they do not have any description for a suspect.
I heard some arguments about, well, people are hurt, we need to let the paramedics transport them. And I heard, again, loud calls and chants to stand ground, to not let anybody in the CHOP.
Mary Ellen Donnelly lives across the street and heard the gunshots and watched the scene evolve. She has begged the lawmakers to intervene for everyone's safety.
We need help. We need help. I mean, we live here. We need to not be ignored. There needs to be a dialogue. And I think the initial protest has gotten lost.
Tony Black, King 5 News.
But like that woman you just heard from, some people who live inside of that 6-block area of the so-called CHOP want the mayor to do more to make sure they stay safe. So a note from residents inside of a building right across the street from the East Precinct said in a letter to Mayor Jenny Durkan, while they feel safer now that the police presence is gone, they, quote, have legitimate concerns about safety and security as permanent residents within the occupied zone, especially given that organizers' demands have not been met and resolution is not within sight, end quote. So that letter also said that the city has not communicated any plans about the future.